How did Plato view the soul and the afterlife? Plato had two views of the soul, an earlier one and a later one. In the Phaedo, Plato leaned more towards the popular Greek idea of the soul after death, which was that it did not surpass death and it dissolved the day of or shortly after one died. The Greeks would often refer to this as a shade, which meant you, your persona, your character, will slowly fade away after death, but can be revived with blood. An example of this would be in Homer's Odyssey, where Odysseus revives the shade of Tiresias with sacrificial blood to be able to speak with him. However, Socrates in Phaedo appeared skeptical of all views like this. Socrates stated that the soul contemplates truth at death and does not just fade away. He insists that the soul still possesses some power and wisdom. A famous argument for the immortality of the soul is presented in the Phaedo, the affinity argument. It goes like this. 1. There are two kinds of existence. A. The visible world that we perceive with our senses, which is human, mortal, composite, sensible, and always changing. And B. The invisible world of forms that we can access solely with our minds, which is divine, deathless, intelligible, non-composite, and always the same. 2. The soul is more like world B, whereas the body is more like world A. 3. Therefore, supposing it has been freed of bodily influence through philosophical training, the soul is most likely to make its way to world B when the soul dies. If, however, the soul is polluted by bodily influence, it likely will stay bound to the world A upon death. However, in the Phaedo, Socrates' argument did not succeed in establishing the immortality of the soul. Even though the affinity argument is one of the most interesting from the Phaedo, the affinity argument still presupposes the eternal existence of something we then call a soul, and doesn't give us a compelling reason to believe in the soul. A lot more work has to be done to establish this idea. Join me next week as we survey Plato's view of the soul in the Republic. This has been Tuesday Talks with Irene. Please join me for the continuation of What is the Soul and Plato next week, and never be afraid to pursue the why.